as we go through today, I want to go through what the objectives are. So number one, the first, the first objective is to understand the differences between the great visionary and the great integrator. And it's very, very important because if you don't understand the differences and you don't understand where they fit in, then it doesn't work. And with that, the objective is to know how to become that great VI duo. And for you, Casey, it's, you and Tom. And in this case, for Jeff and Jason, Jeff is the visionary, Jason is the integrator. So everybody has a sense. By the way, everybody, Casey is the integrator on the other side of the equation. We'll also talk about what it looks like if there was a fractional integrator versus a full-time. And I think that's important because in my mind, how much time are we allotting for the physical integrator component versus the other responsibilities of your job? And so even if you were a full-time integrator, I don't care. It's dissecting the position and knowing what is the integrator portion of what you're doing versus other things. And I think this gets confusing for people. So I definitely like to cover this and want you to understand that. And then most importantly, that you know the activities that you need to be doing on a consistent basis to create that great VI duo. And if I get that and I give you next steps, I will have achieved what I want to achieve. So I'm going to go around the horn. Jason, is there any other objective that you would have coming out of this session?
Well, no, not other than what you've put up there. Those
Okay.
are all really good, I think, to be honest.
Jeff, are you good with those objectives?
Yep.
And Casey?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So then let me go over, as we always do, that's where we're going. The question is, how are we going to get there? So our agenda, we're going to go through VI basics. We're going to talk about what makes a great integrator. We're going to talk about the visionary lists. Then we're going to talk about what the VI same page meeting looks like. We're going to talk about the team and the 5 rules. And then we'll talk about fractional and full-time, and then we'll do next steps. And then we'll get you out of here. I'm estimating it should be an hour and 15 minutes total. It could be a few minutes less. It won't be more.
Okay.
The format. Education, so there's going to be a lot of me talking, unfortunately. But also, there's going to be interactive and some workshop. And I'm not going to do breakout. I'm just going to do it all together. We're going to just work together and we're going to be doing actual work product because I want you actually doing things. And when you leave, if you don't have actionable items and homework, I probably have failed. So just know that it's going to be thought-provoking. If I ask a question and you don't have the answer or it's partial, don't worry about it. Just use like an etch a sketch of everything that you know. Maybe you're doing some things well, maybe you're doing things completely wrong. Doesn't matter. I want you to leave today with doing it and knowing what you need to do it right. And then as we go along, I encourage questions as we go. The best way to do that is the raise hand function in Zoom. Does everybody know how to do that? Does anybody not know how to do that? So hit the raise hand button if you can't do it. So everybody do me a favor, show me that you know how to do it. Raise your hand. This is where it gets fun because everybody says they know how to do it, but they really don't. So at the bottom of your screen, there should be a thing that says raise hand. And if you click on it, it should raise your hand like this. And mine now should have a raised hand.
I don't have a raised hand. I have a chat, show chat previews, react, share, Zoom AI, and more.
AC got it. Okay.
I had to click react, and then there was an option within like all those emojis where I could
raise the hand.
Raise hand, lower hand.
Oh, I see it. Yep. Same place.
Thank you.
I didn't hit it. Yep, there you go, Jason. Right. Jeff, do it for me just so I know that you know how to do it. I'm a tech. I perfect. And guys, to me, this is just an overall lesson that I just gave you. And I want you to get the takeaway. Now you can go in there and lower the hand.
Got it.
And the reason and so I'm going to just, Casey, why do you think I just did that? What did I just do? And this is important from a BI duo because you want to be making sure that you're on the same page. What was the technique I just used?
Probably to be transparent and vulnerable, whether we know how to do something or not, being comfortable to kind of say that out loud.
Okay, to take a step further. I said to everybody, is everybody okay? Does everybody know how to raise the hand? And everybody said yes, but nobody did. And this happens quite often.
100%.
Happens all the time where we say, is everybody okay?
Mm.
Or you're in a same page meeting with Tom or, Jeff and Jason, you're in and Jason, you turn to Jeff and you say, Jeff, do you get what I'm saying? And Jeff says, sure. But he really doesn't get it because you didn't really find out if it's echoing back. Sometimes if it's that important, and in this case, I needed to know that you could raise the hand. I say, okay, guys, show me that you can. And then what I found out is you really couldn't. Happens a lot. When we're dealing with the BI, this becomes one of the most important things. It's very, very easy for the integrator to think that the visionary and they're on the same page when you're really not. And so take what we just did as a lesson, but use that when you're having, Casey, when you're meeting with Tom, Jeff, and Jason, when you guys are meeting, back and forth. Because you've got to make sure that you truly understand. And we don't want to be echoing everything over and over again, but it is critical, especially because Jeff and Jason, you guys are wired totally different. Your brains work different. And Casey, you and Tom are going to be, that's what makes it beautiful, but that's what makes it very hard because your brains don't work the same way. And so we need to be really, really cognizant of that. Okay, now, some VI basics, what we know. First of all the components in the VI, we work with all the components. So when we're teaching a tool, many times, like the people analyzer is a people tool. And the scorecard is a data tool. And the VTO is a vision tool. And usually when we teach a tool, it's one of the components. The VI relationship, the VI duo, the VI same page meeting, it's all the components. Everything's in play. You've got to be on the same page with the vision, with the people, with the data. You've got to have a clear issues list. If process is not working, we have to know which one it is, and we have to be on the same page with traction. That means there's a lot in play here and a lot going on. What we know about poor VI relationships. This is when it doesn't work, everybody. And by the way, when it works, it's magical. When it doesn't work, it's a royal pain in the ass. And it sends really bad messages to the leadership team. So number one, the visionary feels throttled. Like, what happened? I can't do anything more. I'm handcuffed. The visionary feels that they've lost control of the business. And the visionary is not clear at all what their role is. And by the way, when this happens, the visionary who is in control of everything, all of a sudden is lost, is in limbo, doesn't get it, even starts to hate EOS because they don't understand what happened to them and what happened to their company. That's not supposed to happen. But if this is happening, there's a problem with the duo relationship. The integrator comes in and makes decisions contrary to what the visionary wants. They think that they're running the company the way they think they should run the company. It's their company. I had a client who we made, there was a young girl who she was like 26 years old, and we went through the focus day and we made her the integrator. And then she went on a power trip. And all of a sudden, she thought it was her company. Oh, and by the way, she didn't like the strategy that the visionaries were taking. So she just told them in front of the leadership team, she didn't agree with them. Like, can't happen, doesn't happen. The integrator is the great number two. So they're running the leadership team, but it's not their vision. It's got to be the joint vision, but it's ultimately the visionary's vision. The team, because of this, when it's not working, gets mixed signals. They're reporting to the integrator and the integrator saying something, but the visionary is doing something different, and they don't know what's going on. They get really confused and it rips the team apart. The team doesn't know who's running the company. And ultimately, they don't follow the 5 rules. So Casey has gone through the 5 rules. You, Jeff, and Jason hasn't. We're going to go through them quickly. But the 5 rules are what we talk about for the team, that the team knows what the rules are for the visionary and integrator and how they can, how the team can blow it up and how the team can make it work. Now, we're going to spend our time not on poor relationships. We're going to spend our time today on how to make it great. So let's again review the visionary, why the visionary is so different. This is going to speak to you, Jeff. Like, it's typically the founding entrepreneur. This person has a lot of ideas, creation, growth. They're a strategic thinker. They always see the big picture. It's out there. They have a pulse on the industry. They have a pulse on the target market. Gosh, Jeff, does this sound like you talking? Because I know when, right? I hear you loud and clear. Like it's when, it's when you're seeing what we need to do with bed bugs. They have research and they like to research and develop new products and services. By the way, they're always coming up with new products and services. Sometimes too many. They sometimes have ADD. Typically, it's more often than not. Yeah, like we have it. And they're really great at managing big relationships, customers, vendors, industry. If it's big, bring it. If it's tiny, they keep the company, they are the company culture. They're the inspiration. When I did my bike ride across the country, my company ran itself perfectly. When I got back, after 2 months being gone, everybody said, it was amazing with you gone, but God, we missed you. We missed the energy. We missed the rah-rah. We missed you. We ran fine, but it wasn't the same. Because the integrator typically isn't the rah-rah. The integrator wants to make things happen. We'll talk about that in a second. Typically, the visionary is an amazing problem solver. Probably the best in the company. When there's a problem, they go in and they can fix it like that. Oh, by the way, they get frustrated because nobody can fix it as fast as they can. They get really frustrated with the speed of everybody else because I can go fix it in 5 minutes. Why in the world does it take them 3 days? The visionary creates the company vision and protects it and guards it like it's an egg. The vision is the vision. They know where they want it to go, and they are going to fight like hell to make sure it happens. And they, a lot of times, are a great salesperson. Like if there's a really big deal, they can go in and sell it. They can close it. By the way, in a lot of companies, the sales team goes in when there's like a really big deal, they call the visionary in and close it down for us. Because the visionary loves doing that. They just don't want to get in everybody's way. So they stay out of the way. But when it really works beautifully, we as organizations use the visionary for when we need it, we bring them in. And typically they get involved with customers and employees when the visionary is needed, not when the visionary isn't needed. And by the way, the visionary can connect the dots. And occasionally, the visionary does some work. Sometimes provides a service, sometimes makes the product, but generally speaking, we don't want the visionary doing that. We want the visionary doing all that other stuff. We want the visionary simply to have fun and propel the organization. Any questions on what that great visionary looks like? And Jeff, I bet you want to be that, right? would be really fun to just do that, right?
Oh, I feel like we're actually getting there because this is a lot of stuff that Jason and I were just talking about it earlier. I'm finding myself ending back in areas like this through osmosis. Just because, so many other things are cleared away.
How well does Tom do this, Casey? Since Tom gets to see this, you can lie or
Yeah,
Tom-
we're in a very unique situation where Tom is in multiple seats. So essentially, we're trying to fire him from some of those so he can act as visionary. So these are great things to keep in mind when we're trying to, put a framework in place to
And
get
when
him.
and when I have an organization that has a person in multiple seats, what I'm going to say is I want Tom walking around the building with a hat, and depending upon whether the hat's forward, backwards, or sideways, I know which seat he's speaking from. If I'm in a level 10 meeting, I want to know when he's verbalizing something, which seat is he filling?
Okay.
Because his voice should be different as maybe the manager of sales versus the visionary seat or whatever else he's filling. What
Yeah.
is he speaking from? What's his perspective? Oh, and by the way, he can never speak as the owner, nor can Jeff, because the owner never sits in that room. It's only what he is from the accountability chart. Now, what does the integrator bring? A shorter list. Again, you're the conductor of the orchestra. You don't create the score of music. That's the visionary. And you can't play all the instruments. That's your team. But you know how the instruments are supposed to sound. You know what they're supposed to do. And you bring it all together. You bring clarity. You bring communication. You bring resolution. You bring focus. You bring accountability. You bring together team unity, not culture. You're bringing together the leadership team and making sure they function. You bring together project management and follow through. We call it about the tiebreaker. This is where, when you go back, when we understand what the tiebreaker means, it works. When the integrator all of a sudden is breaking a tie that's not in line with the visionary's vision, then the visionary doesn't feel like it's a tiebreaker. The visionary feels like the integrator's running the company. It's very easy to happen. And when it happens in front of the leadership team, that's worse. But the integrator is the tiebreaker because the integrator knows what tie they should be breaking. They remove obstacles and barriers, and they know how to prioritize everything that the visionary typically can't do. Well, the visionary can do that. The visionary is not good at it, and the visionary usually mucks up the works when they do that. Okay, so that's BI basics. Any question on the two roles? Okay, so then the integrator is the key to everything. There's two things that must happen for EOS to work. The visionary must get out of the way. The visionary cannot impede the integrator, but if I don't have a great integrator, the visionary will never get out of the way. So first of all, the integrator, again, thrives on the execution and accountability with high follow through. They own the leadership team. I mean, own it. They make sure they have the right structure. They make sure they have the right people in the right seats. It is their team, and it's got to be their team. If they don't like somebody on that team, if it's not right, we've got to make that change. Now, we might not make that change tomorrow, but the visionary and integrator have to be on the same page of when that change is going to happen. That integrator loves getting the team to execute it at a high level, and they're jazzed totally about carrying out the vision. Like, Casey, you should be jazzed about whatever Tom's got out there. The greatest joy is making it happen for him. And likewise, Jeff's got all these dreams and things. Jason, it's making it happen and bringing it to life and going like, look, dude, I've got you. And Jeff has complete trust that this thing that he wants to have happen is going to happen at the speed he wants it to happen. and that you love, Jason and Casey, the accountability that comes with this. You embrace the accountability. You embrace the pressure. And because the integrator is delivering the desired profitability, the position pays for itself. So many times we get worried about this integrator role and the overhead that comes with it. Nonsense. If we have the right measures in place and if the integrator is doing their job correctly. Where it all begins is what we call the visionary list. And this is the most critical. The visionary list is everything the visionary sees. Everything the visionary sees, all the issues that the visionary sees, all the opportunities that the visionary sees. It's what he or she thinks the company should be doing. It's their vision. Now, the way you know, so let me ask you, Casey, if I'm in session with you on a quarterly, or you're doing your quarterly, or Jason or Jeff, I'm in the quarterly session with you guys, how do you know that the visionary list isn't complete? What do you think happens?
If the list is incomplete.
How do I know okay, so we're running a quarterly session,
Mm-hmm.
and you're the integrator. What happens to tell you that the list wasn't complete?
Like I'm caught off guard by something.
Yeah, so what might happen? Caught off guard by who?
What the visionary says.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah.
You're in the meeting and Tom comes up with, some idea out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that wasn't on the list. Or, I go, hey guys, what's working? What's not working? Because that's how I start a meeting off. And all of a sudden, Jeff throws out 3 things that are not working. And Jason went like, I never knew that. or Jeff sees this amazing opportunity and he throws it out there and Jason didn't know it. Or same thing for Tom. Like we do, by the way, us visionaries, we do this all the time, guys. I promise, no matter how much Jeff is trying, how much Tom is trying, it's going to happen.
Phil, I disagree. I've never had that conversation with Jeff.
And what I'm going to say to you guys is it will become, as you do this and you really work at it, it will become less and less till it becomes never. But in the beginning, it will happen. It's going to happen. And you just have to have fun with it. Almost maybe have like a hand signal or something with, the integrator and the visionary should have some kind of way of communicating in front of the leadership team that says like, dude, what are you doing? Oh, and we're not talking about that here. Like, we're not going to talk about it now. And in fact, if that ever were to happen, you can say to the leadership team, look, Jeff and I haven't talked about it. Tom and I haven't talked about this one. I want to take this offline. I want to be on the same page before we talk about it here. That's okay. Because it tells the team that you're not on the same page. But this list is critical. So Jeff, let's go to our first group exercise. I want to know how long the list is that Jeff has, Jason, and Casey, I want to know how long the list that Tom has. Do you have a list? Can you pull it up right now?
I don't think Jeff has finished his list. Actually, I'm guarantee he hasn't finished his list because we just talked about it.
How many items are on your list right now, Jeff? How many hundreds?
None. But I'll tell you about the evolution. The evolution, and Jason and I were just talking about this earlier. Everything you've talked about today has been true. I went through a phase where the way I described it was I felt neutered. Now I'm in a phase where I'm starting to feel free, and I feel like I'm starting to get some clarity of thought, and I feel like I'm getting into a position to where I can actually start doing more strategic thinking.
So how many items are on your list right now?
None, but it's something that will get started this week.
And I can tell you that here's what I'm going to recommend very strongly, that the list is somewhere, look, we're all electronic people here. I'd have it electronic, that everybody can get into it. When everybody, I mean the duo.
Mhm.
Jeff, Jason, you got access. Jeff, you have access. Jason, you could even keep a list of things that you think Jeff may have left off the list.
Yeah.
And say, Jeff, should this be added to the list? Because you hear Jeff, stream of consciousness. By the way, visionaries are great at that also. We're talking and then all of a sudden we go out to left field.
Yes.
But it never makes it to the list. Because remember, the visionary is not great at the follow through.
You didn't.
So integrators, newsflash, you can help create the list because you hear all the stuff and you're just writing it down and you're showing it to the band saying, hey, let's add to the issues list.
Mhm.
So just to clarify, we actually did start putting together a list today at our meeting. Because I started sharing with them what is in my gray matter. I just need to now start getting that list down for him.
Yep.
But yeah, I know he was taking notes down today and we were actually talking about, where I see us moving towards 2027 and, what I'd like to see us start putting in place.
Now, Casey, you're in 90IO, right?
Mhm. Yes.
And so is Innovative. Do you guys know how to create a team and do you know how to create? Okay, so in 90IO, so just a quick side note, Jason, and if you don't know how 90IO can help you, you can create a team. You're going to create a team for the Visionary Integrator. And then you're going to create an issues list in there that only the VI duo can see. The rest of the company will not be able to see this issue list. It'll be a separate issues list only for you guys, only for your same page meeting. And that's very, very, very important. That's where I want it housed because guess who's going to go look at it? Like, I don't have access to your 90IO, Casey, but you certainly can give me access. And I get meeting recaps. I'm looking.
Mhm.
But for my teams, I will go look at their Visionary Integrator duo list. And when I don't see it, I go ape shit.
Well, we don't want that.
Because it's the foundation. By the way, it's so easy not to do it. It's so easy not to keep it up to date.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The great duos really, really take this seriously. It's the most important thing in EOS.
So, sorry, I know you're doing your training session, but okay. So where am I? I'm in my 90IO. I click on it. I got my 90 Insight scorecard drop.
Share your screen. I'll stop sharing and
Oh.
you share your screen
Well, hold on.
if you can.
I was on a different computer. Let me pull it up. Hold on.
Or I can go on yours if you want, real quick.
It's
Hey
okay.
there. Another pretty face. I got. So Kathy, meet Casey.
Where?
Oh, hi, Casey. Oh,
Hi.
how are you? Nice
Good.
to meet
How are you? Nice to meet you.
you.
Okay.
I cannot share my screen while the other
Okay, you know what?
participant
I
is
can
sharing.
show you this
Do
later,
you want to just
Jason.
jump on mine?
Yeah, let me, if we have time at the end, I will show you physically how to do it because Casey already knows how to do this and I will.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There's a
Come
couple
back to
things
us.
on the 90 I need to learn still.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and look, and there's going to be a lot of people that are watching this, so I might make up a little separate video on how you create a team and how you create the Visionary Integrator list and make a little separate video that you can go back and watch. But we'll try to do it at the
Perfect.
end.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
That's okay. Bottom line, when you create and do the list, Visionary starts the list, but integrators, I want you also writing down what you think the Visionary wants you to do. Because it's not always the same. And this is where it begins. Okay, so bottom line, nobody here has a really good list yet. So homework assignment number 1, when Tom gets back next week, you force him to make the list.
I will just share the list. We have with hundreds Hundreds. We're in Asana. I got a Zapier link that every time he adds to Asana, it shows up in our issues list. In 90, I got 40 pages of a vision doc that we're adding issues to 90 every week. So
So
I
does he
probably
have,
need to know how to minimize those every week if I'm being honest, and or prioritize them a little bit better.
so Casey, let me ask you, does his visionary list,
Mhm.
the issues list reside in 90 on an issues list and only,
We have a few different lists to answer
yeah,
the
well, I
question.
want you to have one list.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
place. Like, it's okay if it's coming from there, but somebody's making sure that it's on that list.
Mhm.
And if you had that list, if you had to guess, how many hundreds of items are on this list?
Between 1 and 200.
Good, okay, that's fine. But one place.
Yeah.
And you as the integrator, that's one of your things to do. Like,
Mhm.
I don't care if you do it or you go and you make somebody in the company responsible for it. Generally, I wouldn't want somebody in the company responsible for it
Right,
because
yeah.
it's really not the purview of anybody, but you might get a third party in the Philippines for $12 an hour to do it,
Mhm.
but somebody's got to do it.
So do you just suggest then like some of those living on the long term? Because like every week to go in and have
No.
like 200 to go through, what's the best
No,
practice?
it's on the visionary. That's where I said you create a team for the
Yeah.
visionary integrator, and there is a separate issues list just for you guys.
Right. So like in our weekly same page, like how are we choosing from 200 issues of like what we're gonna pick each week? It's just as like super
We're
overwhelming.
going to talk about that in a moment.
Perfect. Love it.
But you can't do it if you don't have the list.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, how did you know what the next slide was going to say? So yeah, so first let's start with how often this meeting should happen. It generally, once we are on the same page, it's 2 to 4 hours a month. But it's as much as necessary to be on the same page. This doesn't mean that we have to have all the solutions. It just
Mhm.
needs to mean that we know where we're going and how the visionary wants to get there.
Okay.
Timelines, priority, impact. You're not solving or you're not doing the solve necessarily. You're deciding when it rises to the leadership team's level to possibly become a rock. When are we going to unwrap it? When are we going to uncover it? By the way, when are we going to declare it on the long-term issues list for the leadership team? Because there might be something that, Tom or Jeff want to do that's just way out there.
Yeah.
And we don't want the distraction of the team knowing about it. So the agenda is different for the same page meeting. First, we spend time on the check-in and we spend a little bit more time because it's about the health of the duo. How are you doing? So, on the Jason and Jeff side, Jason, you would tell Jeff how you're doing, where your mind is at. Are you frustrated because the team is bickering? What's going on personally and professionally that Jeff might need to know. And same thing, Jeff, you do the same thing back to him. Like, you need to be vulnerable. And you don't hold back. Now, you don't spend 2 hours doing this, but it should be crisp. It should be good. But both parties should know what's going on. And if you're frustrated, they need to know why you're frustrated.
Oh, well, that's easy. We have employees.
But I will go backwards. Once the BI duo is working well, if Jason's got a great leadership team, then they should solve the people problems. When the people problems keep cropping up, that tells us something.
You got the wrong people.
Means we have the wrong people in the leadership team. That's what it tells us. I should never have to babysit one of my leaders. I'm going to coach them. I'm going to nurture them, but I'm not babysitting my leaders.
I agree.
And if we're babysitting our leaders, you have the wrong people in those seats.
I think Jason is very effectively working through that, and leaders that belong are going to be given an opportunity to change, and if they don't change, they're going to be found better positions more suited for them in the company.
And usually if we do it effectively, again, I don't want to go through an integrator class, but if we know the outcomes that the leaders are responsible for, outcomes, not activities, not scorecard items, outcomes. And if they're not hitting it, they know they're going to get fired. If a football team plays 17 games in the year and they're 0-17, do you think the head coach knows they're going to get canned at the end of the season? Do you think the head coach might know they might get canned at 0-13?
Yeah.
By the way, if they're 0-17 and they have the worst defense in the league, do you think the defensive coordinator might lose their job earlier in the season? Yeah. We know what winning and losing looks like. The problem with our people, and I say it so many times, we don't, I said it yesterday, I went to another client and I said to the integrator, what does winning and losing look like for you? And he started rattling off a bunch of subjective stuff. I said, what is your scorecard? Not your scorecard. What are the outcomes? Give me an objective number of how you measure that. And he couldn't give me the answer. That's not good. What does winning and losing look like for you, Casey? What does winning look like for you, Jason? When your visionary says you're winning and losing, if I hit these 5 numbers, I'm winning. Then I'm going to go to my visionary and say, like, cut me a break. Like, I'm hitting these 5 things. Either the measures are wrong or the goal is wrong, but something's wrong. Let me give you another sports example. If I've had a losing season for 10 years in a row and I bring a new head coach in, maybe winning and losing for that head coach looks like the playoffs. They just want to get to the playoffs, right? But if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you're Nick Sirianni, if I go to the playoffs and I lose in the first round this coming year, I probably don't have a job.
Yep.
So the numbers can change over time. The goals can change over time. Maybe even the measure changes over time. But the integrator must know what winning and losing looks like. Visionary, that is your job to figure that out, not the integrator. I hate when a visionary goes, well, hey, Jeff, hey, Casey, you come up with the measures of your success. Bullshit. It's the visionary knows what winning and losing looks like for the person they have in place. What is it? And it's the visionary's job to come up with those measures, but it's the integrator's job to keep track of it and know where they're winning and losing at all times. So that's why we do the check-in. How are you doing? What's your state of mind? Where it's going on personally and professionally that the other person should know. Now, the issues list. We are pulling out the one list, not 3 different lists. And we're making sure that the list is complete. Because we might add more things to the list. And by the way, we're not solving anything. We're just making sure the list is complete. And now we start to IDS. So before we go to how that works exactly, my question is to you all, how many of you had an issues list? We already kind of said it. Jeff does, sort of. Well, it's in his head. Casey's got 3. Casey, you guys are holding VI meetings on a regular basis?
Yes, so I started July 1st at this. So yes, prior to that, we started same page meetings and we're actually doing them weekly right now till we just
Okay.
find our feet.
How long does your meeting go?
90 minutes.
90 minutes. And did you select that time for any reason other than it sounded good?
I think it's what Tom did prior with the
Okay.
other integrator. So that's probably the only reason. we selected that amount of time.
Do you follow this agenda?
Since we
Exactly
sat
what
through
it
the
is.
5 rules with you, yes.
Do you do these questions?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thanks to you
And
for teaching.
now, I'm going to say that I'm sure that you're not on the same page because you asked the $1 million question, how do we prioritize?
Mhm.
So keep that off to the side for a second.
Okay.
Jeff and Jason, how often do you do your VI meetings at this point?
We're doing them weekly.
How long do they take?
It's about an hour.
Okay. All right. And do you follow this agenda?
Yes and no.
No.
I mean,
that means no. There is no yes and no. It's either yes or
well,
no.
we do answer those questions, but not on that specific agenda. So we go through that like we sit. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. There's no, it's like
we
on
just
track.
we do everything except the IDS.
Okay. I want you to do exactly this agenda, and then we're going to get to IDS, but I want you to follow
Okay.
the agenda as prescribed.
Okay.
Good luck.
Okay. Now,
We got this. Don't
the
you dare,
problem is-
Cassie. We got this.
yeah, the problem is for both of you guys, by the way, this is the problem with most VI duos that are starting up or haven't done it before. They don't leave on the same page because there's just not enough time.
Mm.
I'm going to tell you in the beginning, it can take hours, hours and hours and hours. It is painful. You must, on every one of those issues on that list, have some concept of what the visionary is seeing for that thing. You must have some sense of when they see it happening, like integrator. If you don't understand the impact
Mhm.
of the item on the list, either financially in numeric terms, in some way, you can't prioritize and you can't help the visionary decide what is going to rise up. And by the way, if there's 200 issues on the list, you are going to have one meeting a day for 2 hours a day until
Oh my gosh.
all 200 of them. You've got to be on the same page because otherwise, what do you think happens?
Nothing.
Jason, what happens? It's very
Nothing. Well,
All the
nothing
things that are
happens.
supposed to.
Let's say you there's 200 items on Jeff's list and you got through 175. What do you think can happen? Casey, what do you think can happen if that were the case? Jeff's list is 200. They've done a really good job. They've gone through 175 of them. What can happen with one of the remaining 25?
Not on the same page. A surprise.
And what
No
happened?
clarity.
So then what happens?
Doesn't get done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what happens? It doesn't get done. But what happens with the company and the leadership team? What generally happens?
I don't know. Tell me.
Okay, one of the 25 is a high priority,
Oh, high priority.
and the visionary goes and does an end around
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
around the 5 rules because the visionary is frustrated and something happens, or an employee does something really stupid, and the visionary loses their mind and busts into a meeting or says something or doesn't say anything and throws off the body language because sometimes our bodies will say it all, or fire off an email because the integrator didn't realize that one of those 25 things was actually really important. It was just bubbling under the surface until it happened. It would be a company that the visionary knew they were just playing with fire with their safety. And all of a sudden, and the integrator is doing nothing about it because the integrator doesn't realize it or doesn't know that the visionary sees there's a problem. And then all of a sudden, there's an OSHA inspection.
Oh, damn.
And now the visionary goes apeshit. And it's because it was one of those 25 things that we never hit and we never decided how important it was. Happens all the time. You must go through everything on that list and at least have a concept of the impact and where it stands in the picture. And when your visionary wants it to happen, and by the way, visionaries, you can't make everything happen at once. So you and the integrator need to be on the same page of what the game plan is. Are we playing football, baseball, or basketball? Which ball are we bringing to the game? What uniform are we putting on? What rules are we following? Yeah, go ahead. Ask the question.
Okay, you just threw something out. Suppose there's something that's not on the list that the integrator sees and I'm being short-sighted about. Like you just brought up something like OSHA. Suppose that's something that, I'm focused on marketing and sales and growth, and maybe I'm missing some of the compliance stuff.
Right
So,
here. I want the integrator to also be looking for all the things that they see that maybe you don't see.
okay, perfect.
And they're going to be adding it to the list and bringing in saying, hey, Jeff, is this like, this is what I see. Is it important to you? And you might say, no. And if I'm the integrator, I'm going to say, well, why? And you say, well, because I think it's going to cost us $100,000 to fix that problem. And the chances of something bad happening are like a strike of lightning. And I'm willing to take that. I know the owner because I know the owner, and the owner's willing to take the risk. And I, as the visionary, willing to take the risk. And if it happens, it's on me, not on you.
Got it.
So I'm willing
Can
to
we
take
do
the
a real
risk.
can we do a real work on that real quick?
Yeah.
Can we go through a real work that Jeff and I actually did earlier today on that, Phil, real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so he is very excited. There's a lot of growth that is getting ready to come and happen. And every time he talks about it, I get nervous because I'm like, there's some compliance stuff that we need to fix first. And I want to empower him to continue that vision and to get the growth. But at the same time, part of me is like, oh my God, we need this first. Like, but him and I had that dialogue, and then his answer was, I want to be able to do both at the same time, which is legit as a visionary. But then me as an integrator, I'm trying to figure out that balance. So does that make sense?
Yeah. And so look, I mean, I'm going to leave that meeting and I'm going to do everything I can to figure out what it would look like to make that happen. And then I'm going to come back and say, look, this is how I would approach it. And this is the best that I can do. Do you see a different way of doing it? Because sometimes visionaries just see things in ways that we don't see.
Yeah.
They're going to challenge you, and they're going to say, yeah, look, you may completely despise the guy, but this is what Musk does to his team.
Yeah.
By the way, we already halfway solved one of those hurdles, Jason.
Oh, good.
HR agreed to a VA.
Oh, yay. Look at that.
So there's always all kinds of different solves out there, but it's about the risk. Again, I always go back another to make you think about it. If I tell you that I'm going to blindfold you and I'm going to put you at a red light and I'm going to make you run it, you might say, oh my God, we can't do that. Now, if I tell you that we're going to run the red light at 5 p.m. and it's in an urban center versus I give you a red light in the middle of farmland at 1 a.m, which might you choose?
Definitely going farm.
Farmland, 1 a.m, right? Now, did you go in both instances? Okay. You're blindfolded. First of all, you shouldn't be driving blindfolded. That's number one. Number two, you went through a red light. That is against the law, and I think in every state. Yes. Number three,
Yes, last time I
at
checked.
5 p.m. in an urban center, you're probably going to be dead. And at 1 a.m., you're not. So is it always bad to run a red light? Well, you could say yes, it is. But
Only if you're caught.
maybe it isn't. And by the way, newsflash, if we run our companies if we're in compliance on every single thing, according to the letter of the law, we will be out of business. We decide what risk we want to take. We decide what is most likely to happen. We decide on the priorities. And then we run our businesses the best way we can.
Yeah.
The visionary and the integrator need to be on the same page as to what that looks like. And every visionary is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And how much risk is that visionary willing to take? It's not the integrator's decision to decide the risk level. It is the integrator's job to make sure the visionary understands the risks and what we're giving up to do this, or what impact it's going to have, or how much money it's going to cost us to make it happen, or how it may slow us down. That's the integrator's job, to make it clear for the visionary. But whatever the visionary wants to do, the integrator is going to do it. They're not going to go, we're not talking about breaking laws and getting thrown in jail. But we're talking, if the visionary's vision is okay, yeah, we're going to do it. But we're going to make sure the visionary knows the impact and the cause and effect and what they're giving up. Or how many more people I need to hire to make it happen. Maybe to make it happen, we need to go get more third parties, or we're going to have to spend more money. Maybe we're going to run out of cash to do it. Well, maybe we're going to have to get more of a loan, or maybe the owners are going to have to give us some money if we want to make it happen. Integrator doesn't say we don't have enough money. The integrator goes to the visionary and says, we're not going to have enough money. Do you want to go get money? Because you're good at those relationships. You're good at doing this. Do you want to go back to the owner and ask for the money? Even though the owner's sitting in front of you, you're not going to talk that way. You're not going to say, Tom, do you want front money? You say, do you want to go talk to the owner? Tom can go talk to himself later. Visionaries are good at talking to themselves, by the way. Right, Jeff?
I only get in trouble when I start answering.
Yeah, it happens. Okay. So, Casey, question for you. How do you, on the list, if you run out of time on the list and you only have gotten, 5 of 100 done, what do you do?
Book more time.
Book more time. And if Tom doesn't want to book more time, you're a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
And again, in the beginning, when you go through the list the first time, you can't spend 20 minutes on every issue. You'll never get done.
Right.
I just need to know where you're going. Where is your head at? What is the impact of this? If we don't do it, what is the cost to the company? And when do you think what is your drop dead date when you think this needs to happen? So that you have some sense of what you need and what's in front of you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's go over the 5 rules. These are the
Yeah.
rules that your team has got to follow. It is Casey's gone through this class once. We're talking about so her and her visionary went through it. I typically, it's a tool that we teach, and we teach it to the entire leadership team. So we spell the 5 rules out for the leadership team of the VI relationship. It creates alignment between the visionary, the integrator, and the leadership team seats. It creates clarity for the team and the organization, but without the visionary and the integrator being aligned, this does not work. If the VI duo is not aligned, this never works. And the team knows it, and they sniff it out, and they call bullshit even though they're not calling it. They may not call it out. That's why getting on the same page on the entire issues list is critical. So what are the 5 rules? Number 1, that you stay on the same page. Hello? Isn't that what we've talked about for the last hour?
Yeah.
Number 2, There cannot be any end runs. What that means, Jeff, that nobody goes around Jason. And that include, and and no end runs can be likewise. It's not just in your case, it's not just you, it's Kathy. Like if there's something going on, it doesn't mean that there's not communication. It just means we don't go around people. Jason leads the leadership team. Casey leads her leadership team. And they've got to lead their team. And when we teach the 5 rules, we show the team what to do and what they shouldn't be doing. And then we also give away when it happens, because it will happen. It always happens. I don't care how many times I teach it. Somebody goes and does an end run, and they don't mean it. They're not malicious. It's typically not with malice. Sometimes it is, but usually it isn't. But when it happens, we need to throttle it down right away. And we teach that. You remember that, Casey, right? So I'm not going through this now with you guys, Jason and Jeff, because this in itself is a whole nother hour session on how you handle all this.
Okay. Cool.
The integrator, everybody on the team knows the integrator is a tiebreaker. And they never turn to the visionary and say, hey, Mr. Owner or Mrs. Owner, what do you want to do here? And they never call it, the word owner never ever comes up in a leadership team meeting. And the owner word never comes up with any of the employees. The owner is not present in the building. The owner is not present in the company. The owner receives a rate of return that the leadership team has to deliver. Either a growth rate or the value of the company, and probably profitability, and probably cash. Yeah, Jeff.
Hold on, I unmute myself. So some of the stuff we're dealing with right now basically is breaking some really bad habits in our culture that are a result of us, let's say, managing with too much heart and not enough bat when it should have been, a bat, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And we're putting a stop to it. Jason's in there doing his job, and we've gone from being very flexible to no flexible. If you were 5 minutes late, with a deadline, you're being called out on it, which I think is absolutely needed. So what I don't want to happen is I don't want Jason just to be the bad guy here because he's the one implementing this. So the question I have is it appropriate for me to basically make a company-wide statement that when Jason is speaking, he is speaking for me?
Yeah. He's the integrator. He's what you're saying. That's exactly correct.
Okay.
That Jason is leading is saying to the company, guys, I have no more direct reports. And Jason is carrying out my wishes. And Jason and I are completely he is speaking for me because he knows what I want.
Yep. So, I just felt like that was important, that they understand that everything he's doing is coming from me, and he basically is the one pulling the trigger that I'm asking to be pulled.
And ultimately, where you rely and where you go back to is the VTO. If they know what is on the 10-year target and the 3-year picture, and that's clear, and that's truly what it is, then it's Jason's job to get the team to get there. And the team is going to do it. It's not just Jason, it's the leadership team. And if the leadership team is unified and is all singing from the same sheet of music, then Jason shouldn't be the villain. If Jason is viewed as the villain, then the leadership team is probably not unified.
I think that the leadership team is still learning and understanding.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to say it takes time.
Yeah.
None of this happens overnight. And sometimes you got to slow it down sometimes a little bit. What I don't want to see is it's a year and a half from now and we're still in the same place, fixing the same problems. But only the integrator knows how fast to move and how slow, everybody's style is different. Some people are a little more dominant as an integrator. Some people are a little more nurturing. There's no right or wrong to this. And some of it has to do with the culture of the organization. But ultimately, the team needs to know the integrator, it's his or her show.
Yep.
I think some of that, Phil, is that the leadership team itself has been in the EOS and in the meetings, but there hasn't, like, we've told the company about EOS, but we haven't launched like the accountability chart to everybody, and we haven't fully like put everything out there yet. So I think that's part of it.
Yep. And then where I would start with that, Jason, I know I cut you off a little bit. The
That's fine.
first step is to release the VTO.
Okay.
To let everybody know where we're going and how we want to get there and what a 90-day world looks like. And the declaration that there's an issues list of stuff that we know is wrong. Because the issues list is the liberating thing, which is telling everybody we're aware of this stuff. We just have elected not to do anything with it. And by the way, because we've elected not to do anything with it, bad stuff is going to happen. Either we're not going to go after a market that everybody thinks we should be going after, or maybe, like in the world where I came from, that because we don't have the right routing software in place, Mary and Bob end up at two houses next door to each other, and they scratching their heads wondering why they're sitting how did they get sent next to each other when they could have, and they look at us like idiots. But maybe it's because we don't have the right routing software, or it's on the issues list and we've declared that it's out there. We know. Or maybe we've got a problem with our shipper or a supplier. And because of that, we get delays or backlogs or whatever, but that's the BTO. The 8 questions declared to the company on a regular basis. And if they know that, that's where we start on rollout usually, because then they understand what the integrator does, which is lead the team. So Jeff, is your hand still up because you have a question or because you didn't lower it yet? I think because you didn't lower it yet.
It's down.
Remember that you're an employee when you're working in the business. So when Tom is working in the business, when Jeff is working in the business, and they're owners, they're not owners. And nobody should talk to them as an owner. It's their role. It's what they're doing. If Jeff is going out on a sales call, he's going out as the visionary. If Tom is doing something and it's sales and marketing, he's doing sales and marketing. But he's not acting as the owner. He is an employee, and just like any other employee, theoretically, the integrator can replace them. If the owner is not if the person who is that owner is not doing the role right, the integrator has to have the right team. And the integrator has to be strong enough in the BI meeting saying to the visionary, okay, so I'm in 2 seats. I'm the visionary. I'm also in the sales seat. Sales seat I stink at, or I'm not doing what I need to do. I'm missing deadlines. My salespeople aren't happy, whatever it is. I'm not bringing enough volume in. I'm distracted. That never happens when somebody's in 2 seats. When I go to the BI meeting, I'm talking to the visionary and saying, hey, if we don't get you out of that seat, this is the impact. You're not effective in this role. You're not good with the leadership team. The rest of the team sees it. When do you want to fix this? And why do you want to allow it to happen? Because I can't do my job if you're continuing to be in the seat. And if you say, well, we can't afford it, well, I can't afford it to keep you in the seat. Like if I get you out of the seat, I can make revenue go to this. I will do this much more gross profit. This will pay for it. Now, if you go and replace the person, let's say you, Casey, were to go and fill one of Tom's seats, and you didn't hit the profitability numbers that you're supposed to hit, or you didn't hit the growth numbers. Who's in trouble? Yeah, that's right, because you're leading the team. And by the way, if we're replacing the sales seat, any seat, this is another thing that happens, guys. Happens all the time. It happens way too often. All of a sudden, the visionary starts interviewing people for the seats that they're filling instead of the integrator. Oh, and the visionary selects the people for the seats and says to the integrator, oh, I found you a new sales and marketing leader. Congratulations. Or I'm going to bring in a new CFO, or I found a fractional, or I found a this, or I found a that. It's okay if the integrator asks for the help, but not when the visionary goes off and just does it.
Jeff would never do that. What are you talking about?
They never, like, I just, yeah. It never happens. Ever.
Just kidding. Yeah.
So how do we know when this is all working? When the visionary can let go. When the visionary trusts that the integrator is going to carry out the vision. And the last one is what I just said, right? That the integrator has assembled a team that carries out the vision. When the integrator puts that great team together, do you think the visionary is going to get worried? No. And integrators, again, newsflash, when your visionary is worried, it kind of tells you they don't trust the team.
Yeah.
And the question is why? And let's just say, integrators, you have your team and they're hitting all their numbers. And the visionary still is uncomfortable. What that tells you is the visionary probably thinks the numbers are too low.
Yeah.
Or that the measures are wrong, which means you're not on the same page with your visionary. If your visionary is ever uncomfortable, you are not on the same page. And it is your job as the integrator to be on the same page so that you can make the magic happen. Now, let's go to this full-time or fractional thing. Okay, this is not pure in any sense, but it is very, very much, when we rip it apart, very true. In the integrator role, we are really talking 10 to 20 hours a week when the VI are on the same page. Now, what are your roles as the integrator? It's LMA to the leadership team. It's all the things that the leadership team needs to be successful, making sure that they GWC and they're carrying out what they need to do and they're responsible for it. Your job is to get the obstacles and barriers out of the way for your leadership team, not the rest of the company. Integrators, if you're doing other things in operations or sales and marketing or finance, you're doing the work that your leader is supposed to be doing. It probably tells you maybe you don't have the right leader. You're removing obstacles and barriers for the leadership team. You're the glue to the team. Oh, and by the way, you are responsible for the profit and loss of the company, not the finance seat. Because nobody reports to the finance seat. Like operations doesn't report to the finance seat, does it? And does sales and marketing or any of those people, do those leaders report to finance? No, they're parallel. They're part of the team. Integrator, the profit and loss of the company is your problem. And if you're not making enough money, you're probably not going to be employed that much longer. It's that simple. Your job is to bring the owner the return on investment through your leadership team. And if you're not, there's going to be a problem. The visionary probably could replace you. Because that's who you, but you're not, but when you're doing something, you're not doing it to save your job. You're doing it because you're carrying out the vision. There's a difference. You are also responsible for the L10s for the leadership team, and you take on rocks and you're making sure that the company rocks get done. If company rocks are off track, I'm doing more same page meetings. I'm doing it in my L10, but I'm probably figuring out what's getting in the way. If I can't get it solved in an L10, I'm getting together with my leadership team members. This should take 10 to 20. That's not a lot to do. So then the question becomes, what do you do if you're full time? You're doing other things. There may be other things that you're asked to do, other roles that you're asked to partake in. But the integrator portion of your job, it shouldn't take more than 10 to 20 hours. It just shouldn't. And if it is taking more, the only reason it should take more is because you and the visionary have to have more meetings to get on the same page. But once you're on the same page, if it's taking more, something's screwed up. Jeff.
On the P&L, we use Fraction, so we outsource our books. And then of course, Kathy handles everything on this side. So we're technically supposed to be having a once a month meeting after our P&Ls are issued from Fraction. Is that a meeting that Jason should be participating in?
He should own the meeting because the preparation and getting all the numbers in the transactional part is not what I mean owning the P&L.
Okay.
But owning the P&L means he knows everything that's being spent by all the different departments because those departments report to him. And he's expecting performance from every department. And he's responsible to getting the owner and the visionary the profit that the owner and the visionary want.
So he should have direct line of communication. So if we need to make adjustments on the reports to get the information more accurately, like breaking the departments down, more precisely, that's a conversation he should be having with Fraction.
That's right.
Perfect.
And it's really the conversations with those people should be like, I think Kathy is in the finance seat right now.
Yep.
Right? So it's Jason, it's either Kathy and that person or Jason and Kathy and that person, but it's not you.
Well, we haven't been having it at all, and it's mainly been because Kathy is, got so many things that hits her on a daily basis that it ends up on the back burner. But now that Jason owns it, we know how to get it on the front burner.
And again, this is again, until you guys are until you and Jason are completely on the same page, it becomes harder. That's the problem because you're not on the same page. When these meetings happen, it's an end around. The reason those happen is because you're not on the same page. You might think you're on the same page, but you're not.
No, it just this tells me basically how
fine.
we know we can start getting this area sharpened up and making sure if there's any questions about the numbers and how they are laid out, we're going to get them fixed.
And Jason, look, and Casey, I think this is important also. It's how things are verbalized. Remember, the visionary can do a lot of, let's go all the way back. The visionary is a problem solver. So let's just say the financial statements are all screwed up. They're not, the accounting is just not right. The chart is not right, whatever it is. And the visionary understands that. The integrator might say to the visionary, look, if you can go in there and fix this for me, that would be great. Like, if you want to take this off my hands and you want to go get it right, like, go for it. But let's stay in touch of what you're finding and what you're doing. That's a great use of a visionary. I would never tell an integrator not to do it. This is not about chain of command and bureaucracy. It's about utilizing the resources that we have. The visionary, when unleashed, is the best resource. And by the way, the visionary is working with all kinds of people in the company.
Well, like in our case,
that person, but it's not an end around. There's a big difference.
Like in our case, it's not that we think our numbers are wrong. we think that we've got numbers that are miscategorized.
Yeah.
And then I think Jason, I'm sure, would like to see maybe things broken down by department a little bit more so we can actually see how each department is performing.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Because you want to see, because if you can't see how each department is performing, isn't it hard to measure winning and losing of the team, of that leader?
Yeah.
Yeah, bad data in, bad data out. I think I'm winning, you think I'm losing.
Yeah.
We have it's like putting a canvas over the scoreboard, and you never know how much time is left in the quarter.
Exactly what it
How do you
is.
play the game? Or worse yet, the clocks in the stadium, one says 15 minutes and the other says 12 minutes. Which scoreboard is right? So, yeah. So, as an integrator, is it full-time or fractional? And again, when I say fractional, I mean in your roles, Jason and Casey, the integrator portion of your job is fractional. There's another part of, even though the integrator seat is a full-time seat, the integrator portion is only a portion. When can it expand to be full-time? When it is so fast and we're growing so quickly and we're scaling at such a pace that the integrator's job, that these functions do take 40 hours. It can, but generally not, but it could. Or, and then, if it's a full-time position like you guys, there's other stuff that you're doing. What are they? It might be special projects. Maybe it could be, or maybe you're spending more time on rocks, bigger things. But we have to know what that is. Jeff.
Well, you're bringing something up that, I haven't talked to Jason about, but it's run through my head. It almost seems like having an operations manager who's got now a service manager underneath him, who's got service supervisors. It almost feels like with the integrator, we have an operations manager managing an operations manager.
Yeah, kind of screwed up, right? And ultimately, but the question, I would argue incessantly that we don't want that. We want Jason to have the full faith that, Shane knows how to run operations. And maybe that's a growth, or maybe he's not a little green. Who knows? I'm not there every day, but yeah, there's a person running operations, and that is the person running operations for the integrator. And if that person is doing their job, the integrator shouldn't have to do very much with operations. Again, takes some time, and it doesn't happen overnight, but that's the game. So a couple things to finish up, because I promised you we were going to be out on time and we're not, so I've violated my rule. Number one, if for some reason, and again, this is not just for you guys, there's going to be companies out there that watch this that don't have a great integrator, or the visionary is sitting in the integrator seat. And so I want you to hear that if you are looking at a fractional integrator, you're bringing in a third party from the outside that's going to spend 10 hours a week just doing the integrator role, or 15 hours a week. There's a lot of great fractional integrators out there, and there's a lot of bad fractional integrators out there. I have an integrator list that tells us what makes a great integrator and from a fractional world. And if you want that list, I can share it with you. I also give the 5 rules session. So if you're a self-implementing company and you want 5 rules for a fee, I can teach it for my clients. We just have to decide when we're going to teach it. And then for you integrators out there, EOS Worldwide, this is not me, they have what we call the Integrator Masterclass. It's a full day. That one is being held 2 days from now. They hold it I think it's every quarter. It's $2,500. You can get signed up. If for some reason you have druthers to go take this course 2 days from now, I can get to EOS Worldwide. They would fit you in at the last second. It's just teaches you more about being the great integrator. And again, it happens every quarter, and you're with other integrators. I think they may be a little light on this one because it's summer. So it may not be as filled, but it's still the great content. It's a great thing. At some point, I think every integrator should eventually go through it. Other resources for you guys. If you're ever looking for, again, for the companies that are looking for integrators out there, I don't think, look, in this case, Tom's not looking to replace you, Casey, and Jeff's not looking to replace you. But some companies may be looking for integrators, or someday maybe you guys don't want to be integrators and you want to find somebody. Vision Spark goes out and finds sometimes visionaries for companies, but they also find integrators who are really good at that. Wolf's Edge is a fractional integrator company. True Integrator also is a fractional integrator company, and Titus is a great talent company. If you ever want introductions to any of these people, but Titus is a great resource for recruiting talent, all kinds of talent, all the way down to the people in the field. There's another one called Talent Harbor that does that also, but for Visionary and Integrators, these are great resources. I know all these guys really well, and I can make those introductions for you. And then, that's different. You don't need to read that. And that is it. I had a couple extra slides. So, question, did you get what you wanted out of this? Was this helpful?
Yeah, I think so, 100%.
And so, as I always like to do, I like to get a rating of meeting. If there was a lot of people here, I ask them to put it into chat. But we'll, for all of you that are watching it, you can send me back whether you thought this was a 10 or not. But Casey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate how we did today?
Oh, 10. Great takeaways, homework, lots of notes. I learned something new. So thanks for letting me crash the party today, guys. I appreciate it.
And hopefully Tom has fun watching.
Yeah.
Jeff, how would you rate how we did today?
I'll give it a 10.
Okay. And Jason?
Yeah, I'll give you a 10.
Okay.
You did good.
You make my head swell. Thank
You
you.
did good. You did
Just
a
for clarity,
And again, we can go through, if you ever want to go through the workshop list, because I have here, let's just see. There it is. There's the list of what's coming up. So for what's coming, core values, yeah, you've done that. Culture, which is core values, we've done that. IDS, we've done that. Integrator playbook, those two things are probably good. How do you run an all company meeting? We've probably done that. And rolling it out beyond the leadership room, that we really haven't done. So most of them are out there and probably applicable to, Jason and Jeff for you guys. For Casey, I don't, some of them maybe, I don't know about how you guys were implemented and what you guys know to do and how I don't have any, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the upcoming workshops. And again, the reason I do it on Mondays is because that's like my day that I do all my other stuff. That's why I don't move it to another day, because then it'll never happen. So it is on Mondays, and I do it at noon. And might I move it to a different time? If there was enough outcry from the peanut gallery to move it to a different time, I might. But
I'm just gonna pray that they stop showing up on Mondays, so you move it to Wednesdays.
Exactly. All right. All right. You're free to roam around the country.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Phil. I
so
appreciate
much.
your
I
time.
really,
Thank
really
you very
appreciate it.
much.
okay.
All right.